see you guys. I recognize some faces, some that I don't. Glad to see you guys here. Hopefully this is everything that you hope it will be, nothing less, and even a little bit more if we can do that. So, all right. Well, this is going the wrong direction already. Remember, in a world of technology, always be prepared for it not to work. Yeah. Hey, there we go. All right, awesome. So, first off, welcome. First session for the day, hands. Anybody go to the session just prior to this? Yeah? Good? If you guys missed one, I'm going to tell you, the Atchafalaya Basin thing that was happening in here, if you want to see something, hey y'all, be quiet. If you want to see something awesome and get involved in something that is really, really, really meaningful in this community, in this area, highly recommend checking out that Atchafalaya Basin project. So, if anyone likes paddling, camping, outdoorsy stuff, I spent a week in the Grand Canyon this summer, and I have to tell you, looking at that, I'm like, oop, here we go again. So I'm in. Apparently it's for the Boy Scouts, but anybody can go for 24 bucks. So my name is Zachary Barker. I'm the Executive Director of the Opportunity Machine, which is the Lafayette Entrepreneur Acceleration and Incubation Center. So if you have a great idea, you want to start a business, this will be my only shameless plug along the way. But my job and my team's job is solely to help you get your business ramped up and moving as quickly as possible, okay? So we do a lot of this type of stuff here, which is our training program. So I'm not much for a preacher, I'm more of an interactive speaker. So we're gonna play a little game here, and if nobody wants to participate, that's okay, I'll just start picking on people. So, show of hands, or anybody who wants to speak up, what are the common areas of a business? Common areas. Yes.
Have a team.
Team, okay, let's go a little broader.
Sales.
Sales,
Okay.
perfect.
Marketing.
Sales and marketing, good, that's one. Another.
Project management.
Project management fits into, let's say, operations, right? Okay.
Product development.
R&D is kind of operational as well. Product development, kind of in that same side.
Management.
Management, we're getting closer to where I really want to get to.
Ownership.
What's that? Fundraising. So we're getting, I'm gonna take that as my big leap. Finance, there we go, finance. And all the stuff we don't want to do, right? Administration, taxes, paperwork, right? Okay. Usually that's the last one to come up because it's the last one everybody wants to do. So here you go, we'll just take this kind of a broad perspective. Finance, human resources, sales and marketing, operations. Who in here is awesome at all four of these things? Really? Come on up, mister. There's always one guy in the group, right? There's always one. It's always Nicholas, too. The key here is that these are typically different mindsets, right? So a lot of the times what we find as entrepreneurs, we're this, right? Look familiar? I'm the entrepreneur. Guess what I do? Sales, marketing, operations, finance. Oh, there's a legal problem. Guess what? I'm the lawyer, too. Oh, the IRS is calling. Hey, guess what I am now? I'm the tax accountant. I do all these things, but really, I might only be good at that. Fair to say? We all kind of appreciate what's happening here? All right, so here's a success scenario, right? We always hear bad stories. I'm gonna give you a good story. This is you. You have a fancy mustache and a head that's cocked a little bit to the side, right? That's you. These are your clients. And they are awesome because they walk around with bags of money, except for this guy who was kind of creepily looking at her and not real sure. I actually got this picture up and I went, that dude is really creeping me out. Not real. And this guy, I'm just, I'm not trying to stereotype people, but he looks like he's been out like flagging cars down. I'm pretty sure he stole that bag. So here's what happens, right? So you and your clients, your business is growing. You've got 10 clients there, and assuming creepy guy is giving you money, and they're all doing really, really, really well. Except this happens. Your number one client, the one that's getting stalked, right, says, I love what you do. This is amazing. And I have a group of people who would love to do this as well, right? We want to be your client. Except she says, I want it custom made, right? So you had 10 clients who all kind of fit in the same bucket. But now one client, who is the majority of your money, comes to you and says, I have more of my friends who are good because I make up most of your client base already, right? But I want it custom made. So what do you say? Okay, yeah, sure, that sounds great. I can make that happen, no problem. So you go back to your traditional process right? Because we're early stage entrepreneurs. We're like, oh, dude, it's so simple. All I have to do is plan it, design it, develop it, launch it, and then, you know, like service it after the fact. It's simple. I go and build it and give it to you and charge you a price. I don't know, I make $100 an hour, so $125. That's good enough. It only cost me an hour time to build it. Did it, right? So, you're like, cool, Zach, I got this figured out. That's exactly how I do business. I'm out of here. I don't need to be in this session anymore, right? I just love these memes, and this is like, this is absolutely one of my favorite ones. I try to drop that on Facebook as often as possible. So you're like, I'll just follow the process, right? I don't need what you're talking about here. Why do I need to build a special team? I got this. I'm stone cold with this. But the problem is the first customization and the first move from that base set of clients, right, turns you from what you're really doing is project solutions, right? Custom stuff already. You don't think it's custom, but it's all custom. Because each one is one individual client. That's why you only have 10. There's no scalability, right? So you're really trading time for money. Everybody kind of appreciate this, right? Any attorneys in here? No? You want to see the kings and queens of trading time for dollars? Every time you make that phone call, right? Tick, 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 tick. Right? That's exactly how it works. Because that's the way that they scale their business. That's also why you have to have 27 attorneys in your firm for it to make a bunch of money, right? You have to sell the junior attorney, but charge them at the senior attorney time. So what happens, right? If I'm trading time for dollars, what's my maximum revenue that I can generate? Well, there's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and my math isn't that good, so I don't really know what that is. But let's assume that you can work about 60 hours. If you could bill for 60 hours, that's your maximum revenue. 60 times whatever, right? But the reality is you can't. You have to sleep, you have to eat. On occasion, if you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, right, they want to see you. You have to drive places, and you know, like you might get sick, all this other crazy stuff. Your system ends up looking a little bit more like this, right? We went from plan, develop, design, sell, service, to what a nightmare. Oh, and by the way, because I'm doing boatloads of business now, the IRS is starting to show up, right? Because Uncle Sam, she shows up every April 15th, or October 15th if you're on your business side. So then you get this, my second favorite meme not included, but this is how we feel, right? Anybody had this moment in their entrepreneurial experience? Yeah, I know you have too, Mr. I Can Do Everything. When you're sitting at your office, at your desk, and you get that email, or that phone call, or that text message, or if you're really crazy like me, you get that LinkedIn, right? That goes, I've been trying to get you. Dude, LinkedIn, seriously? That's the worst approach to go through. This is at least 10 hours of my week. It's just like, no, why, right? But it happens because we're doing everything so customized. And again, go back to the juggling, we're doing everything, right? So how many of us have done the Captain Picard thing, right? Show of hands. How many of us have done that this week? How many of us have done that in the last 48 hours? How many have done that today? Yes, you have. I have too. I woke up this morning, I was like, oh, no, really? This morning? So, all right, for the rest of you, I know you're out there. I see you hiding, right? You don't have to act like it doesn't happen to you. I know it happens to you. So let's go back to this, and for any of you that have been to one of the other presentations, like at the OM, we always talk about the entrepreneurial triangle, right? So there's 3 components to it. So what I want to do is I want to kind of break this apart. We're going to talk about sales and marketing. I actually have a slide that we'll get to here. Sales and marketing, operations, or what we're going to call technical delivery, and then administration. So if you are a finance, HR, office manager type person, A, everybody loves you and you don't know it yet. And B, nobody really understands what you do or appreciates you, but once they do, they will really, really, really love you. So, all right, so this is what the triangle looks like. Do you mind if I kind of walk behind here as well? So, sorry, ADD is kicking in. So we have deal makers, right? Deal maker, anybody want to give an opinion? Who's a deal maker? I don't need names, but like, what's the role?
Sales.
Sales, absolutely. What else? Who puts the deals together? Who facilitates deals? Sales is easy.
CEO.
CEO, okay, yeah, absolutely, CEO is a deal maker. Let's go for like divisions. Let's think big companies, right? Sales is always tied to marketing, so marketing is another one, right? Strategists, okay? PR, right? These are all the people who I would tell you their skill set starts with talking and then at some point ends with handing off. They're not technical, right? They're facilitator. A lot of times there are highly technical CEOs, right? Steve Jobs, deal maker, which I'm about 5 slides ahead of myself, so I'm going to shut up. But deal maker, technician, administrator. What's the technician? Technician is the person who builds the product or the service. Now I want you to think about this, right? Because especially like Innov8, things like that, we think about tech and we always think about computers, coders, software developers, right? Anybody been to a doctor in the last year? Technician of medicine. An attorney? Technician of law, right? They have a higher technical skill associated with a product or a service. Now, a salesperson could be a technician of deal making if your business was about teaching negotiation. Does that make sense? You guys with me? I just want you to see that technician doesn't mean just engineer or just software developer. You know, a plumber is a technician of water pressure. And if you have a toilet problem, you know that. And then admin. This is my favorite person in the entire world is the administrator, and they do everything that these two people don't do, and I can't really tell you that because that is obviously not my strong suit. So let's talk deal maker. Oh, look at fanciness. Sales, marketing, PR, training, public speaking. That kind of goes into the research of developers, right? This guy, look, whether you like him or not, whether you want to vote for him, doesn't matter. Deal maker supreme. I think we can all agree, right? If anything, super entertaining, right? This guy, Steve Jobs.
That's supposed to be Trump.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's Trump. That's Trump. You couldn't tell. I tried to go with caricatures too, so it was a little more funny. Steve Jobs, well documented, right? Not a great technician. Good at design. Very, very, very meticulous about how he put packages together. He was the deal maker. He's the one that made things happen. Now, he was technical in some realm. Deal maker, can we agree? Man. So I'm from Nashville, Tennessee originally, and a lot of people don't know this. Oprah got her break in Nashville as an anchor. And so, I wasn't there at the time, but to go from TV anchor to basically, you know, god of media, I would say pretty good deal maker. But technically, what does she do? Nobody really knows. She just talks, that's right. So phenomenal deal maker. All right, this is the sale or the mantra of us, the deal makers, right? Build it? No. Sell it? You betcha. Ice to Eskimos in a snowstorm. I know how to sell the ice, I know where to find the Eskimos, and I know that it's snowing. I got this all day. Oh, but I can't make ice, right? So, ice makers, technicians, the people who come in and they can build the product or the service, right? Fancy. Designers, product builders, service delivery, creators, developers. This guy, would you agree Steve Jobs is probably more a deal maker? Bill Gates, far more a technician, right? Windows doesn't sell because it's sexy. It sells because it works most of the time. Anybody know who this is? If you're a sports person, you've heard of him, right? Dr. Andrews? Correct. Dr. Andrews. This guy can be Drew Brees' shoulder fixed by this guy. Do you care if he's a jerk? No. Why? Technically superior, right? How about this guy? Come on. Yes. Who said that? Yeah. Elon Musk. Right? SpaceX, Tesla, coolest cars around. Good look behind. We tried to get one here in Lafayette too. On the record, we tried to get a Tesla dealership. They told us no.
Well,
Tesla?
They're going bankrupt next year.
Well, you know. This is what these guys say, guys and girls, right? I've created something great. Somebody buy it, right? If you know that person who's highly technical, they're like, I don't know why people don't love this. This is awesome. It's like, well, because nobody knows about it, right? And then administrators. So I want you guys to go back to the office. I want you to really, really, really appreciate this. I tried to find like great heroes in administration, and I'm just not in that space, so I know they exist, but I don't know who they are. So I came up with, well, okay, so this is taxation, human resources, financial management, operations, reporting, and I came up with Sally, Steve, and Susie, right?
First lady.
I've tried to find like, and look, I'm going to tell you that there's a lot of bias out there in the world for administrators as well. So ladies, this is not intended. I tried to find a bunch of guys, and there just weren't enough pictures out there. So we need to change the world on this and make sure that we get more cool-looking accountant guys out there, I guess. So, but these are the people who do all the back office stuff, right? So this is what they typically say. Zach, yes, I understand, but I still need your paperwork, right? So, with personal experience. Hey, I sold a bunch of stuff. That's no problem. Hey, where's the paperwork? Don't worry about that. It'll all be okay. I understand, but I still need your paperwork. I got their credit card number. Don't sweat it. I got it, right? Let's just keep going. So, these are the people who make sure you don't go to jail. That's what I would say, right? So, how does this work? How does this triangle work again? So, what happens is really when you think about building your team, the technician and the deal maker, this has to happen, right? Where technicians get bogged down is they can't sell anything. Where deal makers get bogged down is that they sell stuff that doesn't exist, right? So what happens is at that point there's a financial transaction, and that's when administration becomes important, right? The day you do a deal, the day you finally sell and deliver a product is the day Uncle Sam wants his cut. So you better make sure your contract is right, that your IRS payments are done, right? And if you're hiring people, that you're making sure to follow all the rules and regulations, and that's again why I love these people. They're your rule people. All right, so you came to the session, and I have just a few minutes, which is perfect, but we have to build a platform to understand how we build a team, right? You gotta understand where we fit into the triangle and where we fit into all this. Anybody economics student, or was, once upon a time? Anybody wanna go out on a limb and give me comparative versus absolute advantage? God bless you. No. Stop. All right, so economics 101, absolute versus comparative advantage. Absolute advantage, think about this in the team. You perform your role on this team because nobody else can do it otherwise. So you have to produce this 100% of the time because there is 0% of anyone else who can do the project. Make sense? So if I'm the doctor, right, you are the administrator, and someone comes in and says, I need surgery, only one of us can do surgery, right? Absolutely, super clear, no questions asked, right? So the example here is, I'm the only person that knows how to write JavaScript. Jamie cannot, thus I must write JavaScript. If you don't know what JavaScript is, it's tech language. I don't really know what it is, but it's tech language, all right? I'll let one of our texters in here tell us what JavaScript is. I know you use it a lot. So comparative advantage means you perform the role because you perform it better than the next person and they outperform you in another space, right? So let's do this example. Butch and I can both put deals together, right? Raise your hand, Butch. We can both put deals together, except he can design websites and I cannot. Now he's the better deal maker, right? He sells better than I sell. But we own a marketing company. So we can't have two people selling and nobody producing. While I'm the lesser salesperson, he is the only person who can do the web design. Thus, I have to become the salesperson and he has to become the web designer. Does that make sense? Bunch of head nods? Okay. So that is comparative advantage. While Jamie is better at writing JavaScript, I can, and she is strong at selling, which I am not. Jamie wins. Jamie is not the salesperson, right? All right. So people always come to these things and say, give me a book to read. Tell me something to do. I'm going to walk out here, right? This is your book. So if you're looking for a note, it's called Top Grading. Top Grading is the greatest book on building teams and managing people that I've ever read in my entire life. You can document that. So this is a very, very super simplified version of this as well. What we do is we go through and we develop our team members and our critical areas, right? Again, super simplified. You may get into R&D, you may get into JavaScript coding, you can get as granular as you want, but we're just going to go with the big three, right? So first we have Zach. He's all right. He's pretty good at deal making. He's okay technically, and he sucks at paperwork, right? This is exactly what I am, right? Then there's Destin. Destin is okay at deal making. He's pretty good at the technical stuff, and he is better than me at the admin side. So just right now, right, I know that there's only 2 people doing 3 projects, but if we had to pick a deal maker, who would the deal maker be? It would be me, no questions asked, right? If we had to pick an administrator, who would it be? Destin, no questions asked. If it had to be technical, who would it be?
Destin.
Yeah, correct. I know that sounds real simple, right? But watch, it gets a little more complicated. Jamie comes in, and Jamie, she's not really a deal maker. She's super good at the technical side and super good at the admin side. Now, we'll make this easy. I'm still the deal maker because I don't want to complicate it for myself. Now, who is the technician and who is the administrator?
Destin's the technical and Jamie's the administrator.
Correct. Because while she's way better than him, right, the comparative analysis here makes it to where he has to do that. Now, that doesn't mean she's not going to pick up his weight a little bit, but you kind of see where we're going. And we can do this all day, right? So Alexandria comes in, and you start to see that now we have 2 A+. So what I do is I go down, and I say, who's absolute? Okay, you win. Who's absolute? You win. Who's absolute? Y'all both win. But you can see Destin looks like the bad person on the team here, right? Because he doesn't fit a role. But you start to see we have different ways to balance. So the strongest person here is Jamie. Alexandria could do that, so she could take admin. Jamie could take technical, and Destin goes and gets his coffee. Right? That's how that's going to work. And if anybody knows Destin, you can tell him I said that too. All right, so a super simplified version again is now let's look at it, right? Let's give them a little bit different grades. So again, I made myself A+, so that way it's super simple for me. But you see Destin, we upped him. We made his technical skill better, and we focused Jamie in administration, which lowered her technical skill. How do we do that? Training, right? We do that through training and coaching. We do that by helping them to understand their role, or basically they just become more proficient in what they're doing, right? So as Jamie started doing more technical things, we started to see that she hit a ceiling. And she went like, yeah, this isn't really my space anymore, right? I don't really like this. So now, all of a sudden, Jamie became really more viable here on this side, right, on the admin, because she's still the absolute person, but marginally, she's become comparable here. And because I need Destin to do something, he's going to become technical, right? And Alexandria, because she's really strong across the board, she may become one of our kind of shift people. So now I can say, hey, I'm out selling and another deal came up, right? So Taylor called me and she said she wanted to do a deal. I can't make it. I can send Alexandria. She'll be good, right? She'll be okay. And if we need to do any administration on the back end, she can handle it. Make sense? All right. Again, super simplified. Oops. There we go. All right. Where do you find and build your teammates? Thoughts? You need to build a team. Again, we're the juggling entrepreneur, right? We're doing everything. So we need to be efficient in what we do. Where do we find good people? Thoughts? Comments?
Connections.
Yeah.
Connection. Jobs.
Yeah. Past jobs. Right? Where else?
Referrals.
Referrals? You got to turn it up. Put y'all in the front seat. Where else?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Actually, LinkedIn, that's probably the thing that LinkedIn is good for, is that, exactly. So I took a sales class once upon a time, and I have to tell y'all that in my next life, or if I ever leave this job, I'm going into sales training. There's 0% doubt about it. We hired a guy, we paid him $5,000 to come in and do sales training, and he sat down and he brought us, do you know what this is? STP oil? It's oil, right? It's a can of like oil treatment. And he walks in and he goes, STP. And given, we've paid this guy $5,000, right? To come in for like a 2-hour session. Mind-blowing in and of itself. And he hands us oil. And he says, before we start, I want to simplify this down to everything that you're going to learn today. We're going to talk about strategies and processes and all this, but this is all that matters. STP. And I'm like, cool. What are we going to drink oil or what's happening here? And he goes, see the people. great at sales, see the people. Who are the people? What are you talking about, right? But he was right. You have to go see the people. Who are the people? The right people. Where do the right people live, right? The right people live, if you're a deal maker, where should you go?
Innov8.
That was not my shameless plug. Tech meetups, right? I love the Bar Association. I have a lot of friends who are lawyers, right? That's not like I'm sure. I have a lot of friends who are lawyers. I like them all, right? Everything's gonna be wonderful, wonderful. If I'm a deal maker and I know in that triangle, right, technician is where I'm weak, why wouldn't I go to where technicians are? I've never understood why the Bar Association, they have attorneys who do more events with more attorneys. Well, how does that help, right? If I type JavaScript and I go to a JavaScript meetup, unless it's to enhance my skills, what am I going to do? Get more JavaScripting? Like, you need to meet the deal maker, right? So deal makers go to tech meetups. Yes, you'll be awkward. Yes, they'll laugh at you. Got it. And they'll be good. Technicians, go to pitch events. You know who usually pitches? Deal makers, right? Has anybody been to a pitch event where they've seen someone who's like a hardcore technician pitching? Oh, yeah. How was that?
Yeah, pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Was it a technical like pitch event?
That's right. That's
Okay. I was going to say, now if it's like engineers pitching to engineers, get it. But a general pitch event, so other than the worst case scenario that just happened to me, which was, it was awesome, right? Who had a less than awesome experience? It was kind of like, you're like, you know, and they start going, I'm sorry, I'm you're like, oh my gosh, do you not have a friend who can pitch this? You know, and we did a pitch training, and one of the kids came to me, he's like, look, I just know how to do this stuff. He's like, can I hire you to pitch? Like, I'm one of the judges, I cannot pitch your event. So, but this is great, right? If you're technical, find someone who's comfortable in the room who understands how to facilitate the deal. That makes way more sense, right? Awards programs, right? We have a couple of award winners in here. I recognize some people. You want to find the best talent? Go to where talent gets recognized, right? This is the top 20 under 40, and I am going to give a shameless plug for someone else. 705, if you're a young professional, you're not in this group, you're missing the boats, right? You go to the top 20 under 40, A, you know one thing, right? You're going to find 20 people who are under 40, in all likelihood, right? And B, you're going to find people who are pretty good from that capacity of people under 40, right? So if I'm looking to partner with someone who's awesome, I would probably go to places where awesome people are celebrated, like Innov8, right? Look around the room. If you don't know everybody by the end of the day, you're missing an opportunity. It is a lot of people, and if you didn't bring business cards, you're at a disadvantage, but still meet people, right? Where this works, vendors. Now I'm talking about top grading again. Top grade your vendors, right? What are my vendors good at doing? Delivering on time? No. Maybe they shouldn't be my vendor, right? Clients. Top grade your clients. So, are my clients easy to work with? Are they educated? Do they pay on time? You start grading them across that platform, A, B, C, D, you'll figure out who needs to get fired. Anybody fired a client? Tell me about the greatest day of your business life. Those things are tied together if you haven't figured that out. You fire them, and you go, I can't believe I just gave away all that money. I feel so much better, right? That's exactly how it works. Outsourced agents, if you don't know what that is when you hire an outsourced salesperson, an outsourced support person, administrators. I have a virtual assistant, which I highly recommend that you check out. Same thing. We went through the top grading process. What does she do that I don't do well? I know she hates me. That's okay, because there's days that I don't like her either, but that's because we're butting heads on the deal maker and the admin side. And what happens is this glorious thing called productivity, right? Once we negotiate to a term, it gets done, and I'm like, oh, and I didn't have to do that. That was beautiful, right? Interns. If you don't have interns, get them. If you do have interns, treat them really nice. But interns also top rated. We just hired 2 at the OM. They went through this exact process, top rated. So when they came in, I knew exactly where they're weak, where they're strong, where they need help. So we spent our time training them to to develop them where we need them to. And there's pieces that I had literally gone like, this is all yours now. Thank you for coming. And they went, you sure you want to give that to an intern? I said, it ain't getting done with me. Right? Your staff, this is my favorite one. Now, some of us are entrepreneurs. We're entrepreneurs within a business, right? We still have a boss. We'll always have a boss at some level. But same thing. Top grade your boss. Now, I don't know, tell them where they're deficient, but at some point they'll ask, how can I help you more? And you could say, hey, I've done this, and this is where I see us balancing. A lot of times they'll be like, that's pretty cool, right? Partners. Anybody have a partner in their business? Yeah? Top grade them. Seriously. A lot of us get into partnerships because we like the person and we're kind of complimentary, but we don't ever really look at the skill sets. I'm not saying ditch them. What I am saying is understand, because what happens is where you're butting heads becomes crystal clear in this process. And that's how you build your team, right? You build your team by filling the gaps. My dad used to always say, if the worst person on your team was Michael Jordan, right? Let's assume this is basketball as well, because he proved himself in baseball. But let's say LeBron James. If the worst player on your basketball team was LeBron James, you got a pretty good team, right? So that's the key, is we need to understand where everybody fits in it. All right. Jack Welch, former CEO, General Electric, GE, right? Pretty good. Actually has a Jack Welch Management Academy. When they name academies after you, pretty much, we'll just go on, you know, like, that's good enough, you're validated, right? So getting the right people in the right jobs is a lot more important than developing a strategy. Now, I will say this, and I do want to show a hand. Has anybody just been in a job and that one person came on that just fit in perfect, and they could do the work, right? And they fit in well with the team and the whole deal, and you just, again, that sigh of relief, that, and all of a sudden the rocket ship just right off the ground. Have you had that? And that one, and everybody goes like, that was the greatest hire ever. A lot of times they just think it's happenstance, right? It was random luck that this person showed up. But that's the point. When you get somebody who's complimentary to you and you understand the compliment, that's when the rocket ship takes off, and that's when the strategy matters less. Because they're going to come in and they're going to shift a little bit of what you do, but because they're exceptional at their role, where you are not, the strategy becomes less relevant, right? You still got to keep the ship pointing in the right direction, but they'll take you to places that you can never go because you can't see it anyway, right? Guaranteed, if I was left to do all my own bookkeeping, I would be audited. There's no question about it, right? That's my biggest weakness. I was an accounting student for 2 years. There's just a want to of it all. So, all right. Anybody know this little guy? He's actually becoming cool again, so I'm not as much of a nerd as I used to be. So, if no mistake you have made.
If no mistake you have made, and here's who you are, a definite game you should play.
Right? So, if you haven't made any mistakes, but things still aren't working out, maybe it's time to switch things up, right? And this is the last piece. I wanted to talk about this because this goes back to the client piece. If your clients, if you're doing the good business, right, the right job, but you're still getting bad results, right? You have to take a self-assessment and look at it. But you need to look at the other piece too. Am I working with the right people, right? Not just do I have the right team, but am I even hiring the right clients? Is it time to slow down and say, revenue be damned, I am going to take a step back and I'm going to stop taking these projects because they are giving me a lot of gray hair and I'm hating my life, right? If you're not getting the results you want, sometimes you got to switch what you're looking at. The top grading piece, even that simplified version we looked at, is so simple. You can go home, you can do it to your spouse. Again, not recommended to share that per se, but my wife and I have actually done this because that's how much I believe in it. And we know when we butt heads, we're like, oh, that's because you're getting into my space and I'm getting into yours. Cool, no problem, right? It just became simple. Doesn't mean you won't fight. It just means that the fights don't last as long and, right, you get to like better resolutions. So, cool? All right. Oops. Oh, So, questions. I have like 2 minutes. Don't click edit. We're missing something up there, like a logo or something. So, And that's me, in case you didn't recognize. Questions, thoughts, comments? Yes?
One thing I'd like to add for the audience, the top rating does work very well. I've used it in my startup, thanks to Zach's recommendation. And as a wise man once taught me, take A+ mindset over, with B- skill set. You'd rather have A+ attitude and okay at the job than great at the job, terrible, toxic to everyone around. It's not going to last.
Agreed.
And in a way related to that is you always hire people who know more than you in different subjects.
Right.
So always, only way.
I'll give you one last thing, and this isn't in here, but this is probably one of the most important pieces. So we did the IT job fair thing yesterday, and I talked to a couple of the companies that were there, and I said, how was it? And they said, well, we met a lot of really great people. Some of them might be able to do the skill set, some of them not, but we really met great people. And I said, good. Did you tag the great people? Did you put like an X on their resume or something? And they're like, well, not really. I was like, you are missing the boat, right? And now I had a wise mentor once that said, when the right person shows up and they're ready to be hired, hire them and find a job for them, right? The thing is this, and this is a piece of the top rating, I know I'm out of time. There's a thing called a virtual bench. Think about if you were a sports general manager, right? You can't go recruit somebody who has a contract. You have to wait till their contract is up to get them to come play for your team, right? Why would we not do that in our businesses, right? We should be doing that with clients. We should definitely be doing that with staff. As I say, you and I are going to work together. You don't know it yet, but you're going to come on my team one day. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a methodology of building this ideal team, and I'm going to have a conversation with you every 6 months that just says, how's it going? What's great? What's terrible? What can we do better, right? And eventually, you'll make a switch, and then I'll build my team from there. So virtual bench, think of it like you're building a sports team. Rock and roll. If you guys have any questions, I'll be here basically all day. I know you're walking me off stage, so thank you very much. Appreciate you guys.